Suma's POV. I was flying through the air above the city of Ambos on Pera, keeping well below the tops of the city's walls, searching for my travelling group. After spotting them near one of the city's gates, I landed beside them on the ground.
Alright, now that Private Suma is here, our group is complete. It's time to go back to base. Flying synchronization, everyone,
the captain said, and led us to the city gates to go through the city guard's check again. One by one, we showed them our orders and were allowed to exit the city. I was the last to exit, and just before it was my turn, I noticed one of my companions, another private, regularly look behind our group. I looked around as well, but did not know what he was looking at. After we had all made it through, we flew in a tight formation to the desert, and met with our guide once more. Following the guide, we flew for 2 hours through the desert. I noticed the private talking to the captain at the front of our formation, but I could not hear what they were saying. Eventually I saw the private look behind him again. Once more I searched for what he was looking at, and this time I saw it. A large group of 20 or 30 Nume.
Land, the captain ordered,
and dived to the sand below. We all followed him and landed in the desert as well.
We are being followed.
I noticed them watching us in the city, the private said.
They are most likely bandits. Everyone take battle positions. Create barriers and summon your familiars, the captain ordered,
and began his own summoning spell. Before I realized what he said, the captain's salamander was already beside him, and preparing himself for battle. I was about to summon Jake when one of the others, a lieutenant, made an announcement.
Oh, Captain,
it looks like those Nume following us are court mages.
Are you sure? The captain asked.
Confirming, the lieutenant said and cast a spell. His eyes shimmered a dull yellow for a moment. Confirmed, sir, they're court mages.
Hold, everyone. We do not want to start a fight with court mages. Let's see what they want.
We all waited tensely as the mages drew closer. Within moments, they were close enough to see, even without a spell to improve eyesight. Sir, one of the mages is... The lieutenant did not finish his sentence, because from the direction of the mages, a bolt of flame tore through his body, killing him. What was left of him fell to the ground and caught fire.
Counterattack!
The captain ordered, and launched a bolt of lightning towards the attacking mages.
Summon your familiars!
I summon you! I summon you! I summon you! One by one, each of my companions called their familiars, while I was left in shock at what was happening. Lady Suma, one of the privates who had just summoned his own familiar said, and raised a wall of stone between us and the attackers. You need to... Ugh! An attacking mage had flown over the private's hastily built wall and launched an attack from above. It tore the private's wing from his body, and he crumpled to the sand, screaming in agony. Healing, I said, getting myself orientated and quickly tried to stop his bleeding. The wound slowly closed, but his wing was never going to be able to be reattached now. Not that it mattered anyway, as it was currently burning to cinders in the sands nearby. Lady Suma, your familiar, summon him, the private yelled, still in pain. Yes, I summon you, Sentinel. Normally, summoning Jake is more difficult than summoning anything else. Perhaps it is due to him coming from a different world, or because his world has no magic. I never knew the answer. However, this time summoning him felt as if I was trying to uproot a tree with mana molding. It was like he was stuck. In the end, though, I watched as he appeared, and for a moment I was relieved. But as soon as he appeared, I knew something was wrong. Finally, Jake said, and took a deep breath. He stood motionless, eerily calm even, as the sounds of death echoed around him. The target has arrived! Focus your attacks on it! One of the attacking court mages shouted. Without a moment's hesitation, 3 of the mages began flying around Jake and attacking him relentlessly. Summoning him had taken all my strength, so I was too weak to move or help him. I was forced to watch as attack after attack pummeled Jake's body, ripping his flesh away each time. The first attack took off a large section of his face, revealing the bones underneath. The next ones were aimed at his body and burned holes through his stomach and ribs. The final attack was an explosion that threw his body through the air and against the stone wall that was meant to protect us. As he slammed into the wall, I heard the terrible sounds of breaking bones. No! I screamed. The Viking is dead! Clean up the rest and... one of the attackers said, but was interrupted. Very good. I see the court mages of this era haven't lost their spirit, Jake said from the ground. Without warning, his body was surrounded in a massive manner, colour blue and purple. With several loud pops, his broken limbs realigned themselves, and with a sickening squelch, the flesh in his body regrew, and once again covered his bones. Jake slowly stood up, his garments ripped and covered in burns and his blood, and smiled. The matter around his body began to swirl and twist violently like a funnel cloud. I don't have long, so I think I will enjoy myself. He raised one hand to the 3 mages who had attacked him. Rot, he said simply. How is he? What is? One of the attackers tried to say, but his feathers suddenly turned brown, then black. His beak corroded, and his feet curled in on themselves. His body began to bloat until the Nume fell to the ground. His terrified allies all looked on in horror before they suffered the same fate. Jake? I yelled, horrified, and not knowing what to say. That was death magic. Yes, and so is this, he answered, and turned to the next nearest court mage. The mage tried to fly away, to escape, but failed. Starve, Jake said, and the Nume shriveled up and fell to the ground. He was barely more than bones and feathers mere seconds after hitting the ground. Retreat! One of the remaining Nume ordered, and what was left of the attackers all started to fly towards the capital. There were only 3 of them left, now that Jake had slaughtered the rest. Still smiling in that same sickening, twisted way, Jake cast one final spell. They are your enemy. At first, nothing seemed to happen, but as the 3 court mages retreated, one slowly started to fall behind. Without warning, the mage cast a spell that engulfed all 3 of them in a cloud of lightning. I imagine they were all dead before they hit the ground, but if they were not, they were afterward. The cloud of mana around Jake stopped spinning and dissipated. Jake, what have you done? I asked, looking up at Jake. My name, little Nume, is Deja. Jake, or Deja, raised one hand in front of him, and a black flame ignited above his hand. It was so turbulent and hot that I could feel it even though I was several wingspans away. It was so hot even the skin on his hands was blistering as he generated it. He raised it above his head. He was going to throw it at me. I'm going to die, I thought, terrified. Ugh! Deja screamed, and a red magic circle appeared on his shoulder. It was the magic circle that appeared when Jake became my familiar, and it was spreading across Deja's body, burning him as it did. However, for some reason the burns healed as soon as they appeared. A moment later, the circle disappeared and Deja was left breathing heavily, and angrily examining himself. A familiar's curse? He turned to me. Oh, you must be Suma. I should have guessed. Who are you? Where is Jake? I demanded. Shh, he's asleep. Suddenly, Deja seemed very upset. That's not. I have more time. He clutched his head and mumbled to himself. No! With that, I felt a summoning activate on Jake's body, but I was not the one who performed the spell, despite being able to sense it as if I were, and Jake vanished. This time, the summoning felt normal again. What just happened? A voice behind me asked, startling me. It was Captain Razowin.